Welcome to the Perfectly Sane Show, episode 673. I don't know why I said it that way, but I am Chris, as always, joined by Tony.
Guys, I just had a startling revelation. I think wrestling is fake.
Sacre bleu! What gives you that impression? I did not know I went French.
That's like, is
Earl
this
is
in
so
reference
shocked
to
it made him French. That's what happened.
This is gone off the rails immediately. Earl is here as well. French Earl.
I just found that Russian's fake, so I'm.
And Jeff is here as well.
Definitely
Hi.
wrestling was fake.
Hi.
what?
I'm not sure what's going on. Yes, Tony, I do believe wrestling may be fake.
Damn it. Wrestling is fake. The NBA is rigged.
I mean,
NFL games go by a script. What's happening here?
so, all right. I don't want to get too deep into the wrestling, but like fake is maybe the incorrect term for it. It is scripted. It is, everything is set up, but like they are legitimately athletic and doing like jumping and sometimes going through tables.
That's always the defense, but like I don't think that when people say it's fake, that's not what they're saying. That, like, you know what I mean? Like it's like they're saying it's scripted.
But I do think some people are like, oh, they're not, like it's not real. Like no, when like you get hit with a chair, it still hurts.
Yeah.
Now maybe you know exactly how to move your body so that the chair, and that's the athletic part, right? It's like knowing how to make it look like you got hit by a chair really hard.
Or sometimes you just like, I remember this years ago, back when, I mean, The Rock is back, so it's kind of like hard to go back when The Rock was around. Like, I think it was a Royal Rumble match with Mick Foley, Mankind, and he took like 17 chair shots to the head. Mick Foley does not remember that match. Like it's been knocked out of his head. He get multiple concussions from it. Like absolutely insane. Like some of the stuff they used to kind of. It's much safer now, or I guess it's supposed to be safer. Earl watches more of it than I do. So, would you say it's safer now, Earl?
I mean, I think they are, like any major sports in the past decade or so, they've become a lot more aware of stuff like concussions and stuff like that. So yes, I do think they tend to take more precautions to make sure things are safer. But like anything, as they say, accidents happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when people say it's I mean, people can say whatever. It's never been a big deal to me. But I think when people say it's fake, I think in my experience, whenever people said that, it's never been a thing about like if it's fake. It's always been a way to kind of degrade the entertainment for people who watch it. Like you're watching something that you know is fake and made up. And it's like, yes, I watch movies and play video games. I know those are not real either.
Yeah, of course. Do you guys ever see that classic clip where Roddy Piper is on Bill Maher and Bill Maher tries to tell him that wrestling is fake?
No. Did he like go off?
He stood up and he started like lifting up his shirt. He pulled down his pants and showed his ass, all the injuries and bruises and whatnot all over his body. He's like, "You think it's fake?" I'm surprised you guys haven't seen that. Earl, you haven't seen that one?
I don't think so.
It's again though, but like I kind of like I get where everyone's coming from with it, but like again, when people say it's fake, they don't mean. I guess they could mean what Earl said. Yeah. There's that angle of it too. It's like, why would you want?
It's an athletic soap opera.
Yeah. Hey man, if you like it, I got nothing against wrestling. I'm just not into it. Like,
yeah, I will say I've always found it funny that it's not, I guess, but like in the ways that it's evolved. Because when I was growing up in the 90s, it was soap opera for men. Now, a lot of my friends they say it's drag, and I'm like, yeah, it's whatever. It's entertainment. It evolved with time. It is clearly fake and staged, but it's fun. It's entertainment when it's done right. So like, yes, you get invested in the characters, you get invested in the world. like I'm not gonna go there and tell you like these are the best athletes in the world or something like that. But the sheer entertainment they provide is probably second to none, especially being that as somebody who likes live entertainment, I don't think anything compares to professional wrestling. I like basketball, and I mean, my favorite sport to watch in person is actually hockey, but I don't think any of them have the energy of professional wrestling when you actually go to an event with thousands of people. So I think it's one of the few sports that like not only wants you to be involved, it actually actively encourages. Like if audience isn't participating, it kind of defeats the purpose.
Yeah, there's nothing quite like watching like turning it on the television and seeing like a rabid crowd, like they're holding up their signs and cheering. They're doing a back and forth with the people in the ring. And there are like I watched a little bit. I don't watch much AEW, but I watch a little bit. Sometimes their crowds are like completely flat. I used to watch TNA years ago, which is a terrible name for any organization. It sounds like tits and ass. But like sometimes their crowds were incredibly flat, and it makes it worse. Like it's like the crowd's not into it, so it's like you're not really into it either when you're watching it on the screen.
I think the bigger question here is how did we get on wrestling? Why did Tony push us down this road?
I assume because we were talking about WrestleMania this weekend, and Chris and I are both going.
Oh boy.
Yes, Earl has been to multiple WrestleManias. Yes.
Yes, this would be, I believe, think this is my 5th.
Yeah, so I've never been to one, and it's in Philly. The last time it was here was 25 years ago. I think it was WrestleMania 15. And that was like the last time I was really, maybe not the last time, but it was like that was the era like when I was back watching it mostly. It's like that was like the Attitude Era of WWE.
It's been that long.
Yeah.
I mean, Philadelphia has hosted other events. But like, yeah, I guess they haven't had WrestleMania. Because we kind of get boned because like, especially since they started doing the stadiums. Like the Northeast is kind of unreliable for weather, and I mean, to be fair, we've proven that this week.
Oh yeah, like it could have been really bad if the weather that it has been for the last 3 days, what was coming up this weekend, like it could have been awful.
Yes, but it does seem like it is turning to be a very nice weekend. So,
but yeah, I've never been. The Rock has come back, so I am. He's one of my favorite wrestlers. Like I enjoy watching The Rock as a performer, mostly as an actor nowadays. But I think the stuff they've been doing in WWE with The Rock coming back has been quite enjoyable. With his social media stuff and what they've been doing on television. I only watch it in like clips. I don't sit down for what's Raw now, 3 hours.
Yeah, it's a lot of commitment. Like even I tend to watch it, but I tend to watch it a lot in like the background of like either another movie or a game, because 3 hours is just a lot of time to invest in anything, especially every week, and that's one show. Then it's 2 hours for SmackDown, 2 hours for NXT, AEW is another 2 hours.
Yeah, watching wrestling can be a huge commitment if you watch a lot of it. So, I don't know. I'm hoping for a good time. I have not been to a live wrestling event. The last one I went to was in Trenton. It was a TNA pay-per-view when Sting was still there. So he has since left there, joined WWE, left there, retired for like 5 years, came back, and he just retired again.
Yes.
So we're talking like maybe 10, 15 years ago was the last time I've been to a live wrestling event.
Yeah, I went to one on Monday.
You
It's
were
so long.
I
can't even remember what they're like.
It was in Brooklyn, right?
Yeah, I mean it's literally 25 minutes on my pace. I honestly did not want to go, not anything to do with it, but because I knew I was going this weekend, I was like, that's a lot of, again, I enjoy it, but that's a lot of time to invest in anything. But my friends are like, oh, we got tickets, just pay me back. I'm like, Sure, I guess I'm going with you folks. So.
And WrestleMania is a giant commitment. I think the show starts at 6:30. It's probably not going to end, and it's 2 nights straight, so it's probably not going to until like 11 or so each night. It's going to be a long weekend. But hopefully, I will see Earl this weekend in the stadium.
Well, probably not in this Hopi before, because I gotta figure that stuff I'll figure out, because I'm like I probably will do stuff around, because I want to get there like 6. My friends are very insane. They probably want to get there like 4. I'm like, I'm not gonna get there super early for something. The show starts at 7. Doors are like 5:30. I'm like, I get there 6, get in, get food and stuff.
Plus, your name is Earl and not Early.
Yes.
Well, we could talk all about Earl's trip to Philly next week. But played some games. There's also a report that kind of came out. I think it was on Kotaku, but some report there that I kind of want to touch on. But Tony, you were not here last week.
True.
We were told Jeff poorly explained Dragon's Dogma.
Oh yeah, I'm so happy we're all here, so we could satisfy to Walter's satisfaction.
Actually discuss the game in a way that's coherent. Yeah. I don't know. I didn't listen. I haven't had time to listen to last week's episode, so I don't know.
Honestly, I didn't know what I wanted to say about it. I've made up my mind more now.
Well,
okay.
I mean,
I played an hour of it.
Oh, you played an hour. An hour is probably not the experience. You haven't even made it like out of the tutorial.
I think I've made it to summoning a pawn, and that's and then Jeff's guy was like, "There's a treasure chest up there," and I was like, "Where?" And so I wandered around for a little bit until I found it, and it's like, "This is fucking annoying," and I shut it off and went and played Final Fantasy VII. But I will get back to it. Sure. But Tony, you've played over close to 30 hours of it.
Yeah,
I think
I've played a lot of this game now.
Yeah. And so is Jeff.
So, I not knowing what Jeff said, I don't know quite where to start, but I kind of like this game. Gives me the feeling of actually going out on an adventure more than most games do.
Okay.
So basically, you have your character and you're out in this world and you're doing stuff. But you're like it does a good job of putting you in a universe that seems to be alive around you, and there's stuff happening without you, and I think the pawn system really conveys that super well. So like so backing up, so there's no fast travel. I mean, there is fast travel, but it's really contrived.
Limited.
That's how you get the sense of adventure. You're hoofing it everywhere.
Exactly. So basically, you're starting out your day. You're like wherever you stayed the night before. So you maybe you stayed in an inn, maybe you stayed in your house or whatever. And then you go out on adventure and you bring your pawns with you. And you're out there until the next time you stay in an inn or in your house. So like that's like it could be a huge journey. Like sometimes you're out there like forever, and you kind of feel like Frodo as he's getting to towards Mount Doom at the end, and your guys are all exhausted and they're like running out of health, and you're like, please get me to the next town before we die, because the save system is such that like you either save like a very tiny amount back from where you currently are, or all the way back at the inn or the house where you started your little journey.
Usually, you can't really you can't load previous save. It's just like Usually, if something bad happens, it's like auto saving all.
Yes, that bad thing that happened to you, and it might suck. Maybe your pawn got thrown off a cliff and it's dead at the bottom, and your pawn is fucked.
And I've been in a situation or two now where I'm like, man, we're all like, your health bar gets like drained to where like you can't refill it, and you're like, man, I'm in a tough spot. Yeah. Do I use this there is fast travel, but it's like, do I use this finite item that I have very finite? It's not like you have a lot of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
you can get more and you can buy more, like, and the game kind of throws money at you. So like, if you need to use that little fast travel stone, you can get one. Like, it's not like you're gonna use them all up, but like they're definitely limited to the point where you're like, I really need to use this if I'm going to use it.
I've never had more than 2 on me. Never.
Well, I mean, I have like 7, but like I put 5 in my, like, I never carry more than a couple. But I like the healing system. So like, you get injured and you can like cast spells or use food to heal. But like, as you get injured, it decreases the amount you're allowed to heal.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Cool,
like
that I like that mechanic, because that sort of like it makes getting hurt effective, right? Like in most of these games, you're like, yeah, you got whacked pretty hard. Well, you used a potion, and in most games, well, you got all better. Well, that's not really how things work, though. Like, your arm needs some time to heal. You need to go back and stay at the inn and convalesce. But that whole like element puts a little survivalness into like every time you go out the door, which I think is super cool. I do like those stones. There's been a couple times. Well, there was one time where my party was about to be annihilated by a griffin. Like, we were all out of health, and like I used one in the middle of battle. I did try to do that in a cave once. They don't work in caves. You have to be outside.
And just to your adventuring point too, I'm currently on a mission that sent me into a cave pretty deep, and I finished it, but now it's like time to leave. And normally I'd like fast travel out of here.
Yeah,
I'm lost in the cave. Can't find my way out. Which is kind of, it's kind of, hey, it sets it apart in some way.
And one of your pawns doesn't know the way out?
No, unfortunately.
Oh, no. Oh, you're screwed. Like, that's the other cool part, is like, you build this like party around the pawns, and like the pawns are like in a living, breathing universe. Like, they've done shit that have nothing to do with what you've done in the game. So like, you're walking down the road and there's a pawn that knows that there's like a stone over here that you can go grab, or like a treasure chest, or he's like, I know where this cool cave is. You could just follow him to it, which is kind of cool. Like, they know more about the world than you do, because they've like had these experiences in other people's games, and like bring that back to your game. I think that's super, super cool.
I think my workaround might be, because like, my pawn doesn't know the way to the next quest. Maybe if I chose one of my other open quests, like, he would lead me out of the cave. I bet your
pawn would know how to get out. Yeah,
that might be my next like, what I'm gonna try to get out of this. Yeah. I'm going in circles in this fucking place.
Like, there are a lot of times like you don't even need to use the map if you have a quest, because your pawn will just take you straight there.
But
and you're stuck in the cave, so you can't even like go get a different pawn that might know where to go next.
Right.
That brings me to like my funny story I told you guys in like the group chat, and I forgot to bring up last week, which is that like, in order to get to this desert town, which is like the second big town you go to, you need like this checkpoint pass. Like, there's a checkpoint town, and you need to show a guard this pass, and they open a gate for you to get past, and then you're back on the road towards this next town you're getting to, right? Well, I had a quest to go to this other town, and I did not have the checkpoint pass yet. In fact, I've never even found the checkpoint town at this point. If I had not listened to my pawn, I would have ran into this town, but instead, my pawn was like, hey, I know the way to our next quest. Like, I know the way to get to this town. And I was like, okay, cool, I'll follow you. And he took me on the longest circle around the map. So like, there is a way to like bypass this checkpoint, but you have to like literally go like in a gigantic circle around the map, fighting enemies way past my level. Essentially, like, my pawn, since he has played more of the game than me, like, he knew a way to get to this place, and he sent me into fucking danger and hell, and a really long bogus journey that like I was not prepared for.
Good. I can't wait for your pawn and Tony's pawn to just like murder me. as they're like, I know where we're going.
The way. And
Make sure
it's
you
like,
just pick a quest that's not like on the other side of the map. You'll be fine.
well, like the thing is like that desert town, like when you're in, was it Ventworth or something? The main first town.
That's the main.
You could see. All right, I have to go like southwest to like get to this next town, and that's how you would run into the checkpoint town. He sent me like northeast out of Ventworth, and we went and like, dude, just like all over, and like again, like way overpowered by fucking enemies and shit. I don't know how I fucking made it to that desert town in the first place. And then once there, I did not understand the like rift the.
Because you're missing like the story beats that are supposed to get you there.
No, I did not understand like the port crystal system yet. Like I assumed every town had a port crystal.
Yeah, that one doesn't. Which like
you have to set them down. Yeah. It's like, oh fuck. So like I had to make it back there yet again once I was ready for it. That's kind of where I am.
And that town is a journey to get to. Like I went the way you're like I got the pass. I got through the gate, which I'm not going to spoil for you, but you have to do something to get through the gate. That's pretty funny. And then I went all the way to the town, and that is like it is far, and the enemies to get there are tough. There's like griffins everywhere.
Once you get close, oh my god, there's shit everywhere.
I was actually I got to the desert town. I like walked like a couple feet towards the edge of town and got attacked by a griffin. I hadn't even left town. The thing just dropped from the sky. But those battles are cool. I like the boss battles. They're sufficiently epic. You got like giant things. Your pawn is like, because my pawn is like a melee. They're like climbing on top of it and like hitting it in the head. And you're like summoning spells. Like they look awesome.
It is cool when like I'm casting a lightning spell. One of my other pawns is casting fire, like a wave of fire over them, and you got like your warriors climbing up them and fighting them, and it does have like in moments of that, it does kind of like remind you of Monster Hunter in a way, where it's just like everyone fucking doing what they can to fucking bring this thing down, like chipping away at this thing.
It's also fun that there's like just random pawns walking around that get involved in those battles. Like
they also
some
stop
wizard
you
that's
when
not
you're
even
walking.
in your part. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Hey, you could hire me. Like, but I'm good, bro. I got a level 41 pawn with me. I'm all right. Chris?
I mean, as I said, I only played an hour, so I played through that whole like prison section. I was not impressed by the opening cutscene. I was like, why is everybody looks wet? Like in that throne room, like it was really weird. And then like once you get out of there, like nobody looks like they look fine. Like it's like what the fuck was that? Like really weird cutscene. And then they're like, hey, move some rocks.
That was ray tracing, Chris. That's what that was.
Oh well, it was shit. Like, it's like this is a bad cutscene. Also makes zero sense because like, I mean, I guess it's in first person, so you don't really know who that is, and maybe they
dying
explain
right
it at some
now.
point.
What is happening, and why are they dying? I don't get. What's this voice out of nowhere? I don't understand.
Right, and then you're in this pawn prison, and you're like picking up rocks and moving them, and then you fight a Gorgon. Like that was cool. Like she was epically big. I'm like hiding behind like these little booths and stuff, like shooting my arrows at it while the other pawns are attacking it. And like that's fun.
You're an archer?
Yeah.
Oof.
Which is like that's generally how I play like a lot of fantasy games. Is
my vocation this whole time has been mage. So I maxed out the mage. I've gotten that all the way to the end. I switched to archer, and I tried it for a little bit, and I was like, oh, interesting, and then I went back to mage.
I can't give mage up because of the anodyne spell.
Yeah.
What's that spell?
It's a healing spell. It makes this like orb of healing that everybody can come into and heal.
Got it. I mean, I did make my main pawn a mage, and like made them because like you can set their tendencies, their personality, I guess.
Yeah.
So I like set her to be more basically like more helpful, like a more of a support role.
Yeah.
And then I picked up your pawn and Tony's pawn, and like they're much higher level than me, so I should be okay in the early going.
What is Tony's
Battle-wise.
pawn? Like, what vocation is his pawn?
It's what is it? Barbarian. It's whatever not the not fighter one is. The other kind of melee.
Had like an axe, like
Yeah, like the heavier.
Wait till you see it like knocking heads, because my pawn can like knock people across the screen. It's pretty fun to watch.
And you can unlock like different, like you're not just limited to those 4 vocations, right? Like
right. There's a bunch.
Yeah, you unlock more as you specialize.
The heavier, like melee vocation is one of the ones you unlock later. I think, right? Like, yeah, it's not available right away, and
the ones available. I think the ones available to start are like Archer, Thief, Mage, and then Fighter.
Yeah, and then you can unlock Sorcerer and I can't remember what it's supposed to be, Barbarian, whatever the fuck it is. And then the rest of them are locked to the Arisen only. Like you can't be, like there's like
your pawn can't be, but you can.
Yeah, it's like a.
It sucks because I want to get.
And there's a Trickster and like a War, something.
I wanted to hire a Mystic Spear Hand or whatever it's fucking called, and you don't find those in the Rift because
those aren't pawns.
It sucks.
Yeah, like there's like everyone's like, oh, Magic Archer's fun. Like I'm like, okay, like we'll see if I get there. Yeah, like it was. I think it is. I played a little bit of the first one, like 5 hours of that one. This is significantly better than that, but I don't know. I don't know if it's my type of game. Like as Tony, you were kind of like explaining, like it's more of like you're out there just surviving in the open. Like I need a little more direction sometimes. Like, I don't mind if there's shit to go do off on the side, but it's like, how do I get to the next thing? Like, can I mainline this? And everything I've read and watched is like, you don't want to mainline this game. It's just go out and like adventure. It's like D&D, the live action version of it. Like, okay, we'll see. Not sure it's for me. I'm glad you guys are liking it though.
I like it. Here's where I fall on it is I like it, and it's giving me my like RPG itch for sure. Like, it's like when I sit down and play a game right now, I'm playing that. That said, I don't love it as much as the people that like really love this series, or even like probably not as much as Tony, because like I just think that the combat in it's fun, it's fine, but the 2 recent great RPGs in my opinion are Baldur's Gate 3 and Elden Ring. And the combat is not as good as either of those. Like, it's different than either of those, but it's just not as good. Like,
what I felt of playing the Archer is it's very loose.
Yeah.
It's a little more, I don't want to say arcadey because that sounds like maybe I'm like insulting it, but the controls are like, and some of that is right. There's no lock on, so it's like I have to like line up my shots, and it makes it a little more difficult with the Archer. Although they do like if I just do the quick attack, it's like an auto aim.
When you start to pull back your bow, it doesn't give like a circle over the enemy that you're looking at.
So what there is like precision aiming, and like when I do that, it does, and then otherwise it's like you're just tapping, and it's a like you can like kind of rapid fire. They're kind of auto aimed.
I don't get why you wouldn't just do what Elden Ring does, which is like you right click the stick to select a character, and then, or a lot of RPGs do this. Fucking Harry Potter did it last year. Like, you right click the stick, it selects the nearest enemy. If you want to aim at another one, then you move the stick left or right, and it'll select them. Here it's just kind of like
that's something that this game like seems to be bucking standard trends, like. Because like even in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth,
it wants it to be chaos. People. I think it wants it to be chaos. Like, but that said, when I start to pull a spell, if I start facing in a direction, there will be like a circle that slowly closes in on the enemy that I'm like kind of looking at, and I can just adjust the camera to like try to look at someone else.
Got it.
And it is cool. Well, I don't know. This might not matter to you as an archer. I don't know how that class plays so much, but you do get like, as a mage, you do get an upgrade that is like you could basically like really speed up how long the spell takes to cast, which is useful because it takes forever.
Yeah.
Like, there'll be a lot of fights
and
to get
like,
into. They'll be,
instantly
you think it'll be dead.
Yeah,
Sorry,
before
what?
you can get it.
Yeah.
No, it makes it instant. Like, it's great.
Yeah, there are I mean the archer's clearly different. It has like the quick shot, and then there's like a special that you can do where you hold down like one of the buttons and then press X or whatever it is, and it'll do like a barrage shot. And then there's like precision aiming as well. Like so there's different skills that I can unlock, and I saw that in that fake in the first area. Like you can kind of like upgrade your skills there. So I gotta look at some of them. What else was that? One thing, I don't have a melee weapon.
Yeah, you can
really?
kick.
Fucking weird. Like, yeah, it's a kick. It's so fucking strange. Like, because
Wait, how do you kick?
it's like Y or something like that.
The archer can kick. The mage can't kick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so like you do this like flying kick. Like, I think I have a clip of it. I'll share it with you, Jeff. It's absurd because like these goblins, you get attacked like after you leave. These goblins attack you, and you're being shuttled by like some lieutenant to the first area, basically. And these like 3 goblins attack, and like one got up close, and like you're ranged, you're ranged fighter as an archer. So it's like you can kick them. It's like she does like this weird spin kick, kick the goblin to the side. It's just absurd looking, especially since in the first game they had the class was called Strider, and it seems like what they did was they got rid of Strider from the first game and split it into Archer and Thief. So like the Thief has the knives that the Strider had, and the Archer has the bow that the Strider had from the first game. So like they gimped that a little bit. I don't know. I will definitely play more of it. So
lies.
No,
Lies.
I generally play the games I get. I mean, I put a good
Elden Ring.
I put 8 to 10 hours into Elden Ring.
You did not.
I did.
He didn't
I watched you play it.
Down.
You did. You watched me play it. That wasn't the start. I had already played like 5 hours up until that point. That was the last time I played it.
You may have played more than like Tony in that game, but
Probably
I don't
did.
think you got further than anyone else. You made it to the first level.
He definitely did.
Wait, can I ask you? I'm not trying to pick on you, but like, how far did you get in Baldur's Gate?
Not very far.
I don't get why you put that one down, because that's so great, that game. Like,
It's
I couldn't get myself off of that for 2 months.
I can't answer that other than like there were other things that were like, oh, this is only like a 6 or 10 hour game that I can play right now as well. So like I jumped into that as opposed to like.
But you were liking it, like
yeah. What I played of it, I liked.
Yeah.
I mean, I did not like it. I'm like with Elden Ring, I was like, this game is clearly not designed for me.
I thought you were doing fine. He was. I mean, you got the jitters.
Probably
when
was
you first
playing
start.
it fine. He just didn't like it.
I mean, he needed a little. You could use some help, but also it's weird to play like a game like that on a stream, in my opinion. Like, or to play any game on a stream, it's like it's weird when you know someone's watching you play a game.
Yeah.
I did not play everything that I played in that game on stream, so.
But it is fascinating.
Yeah.
I do hear from people that it's hard to kind of like play, because you also not only are people watching, but also you have to think of what you're saying.
Yeah,
Kind of
that's
keep them entertained.
exactly. Yeah, I mean, I've never done it, but I could imagine I would feel like on the spot or something. Like, you know, I gotta keep people like engaged in what I'm doing.
I mean, there's like 6 people that follow my Twitch.
It was literally just me watching, but yeah, but even it just
you, Sean, Walt, Fozzie, like that's who stops in when I stream.
Yeah, but you know that like I'm examining what you're doing. I'm trying to like message you and tell you what to do or whatever. You know, like it's different than just...
I mean, Sean, when I played a little bit of Demon Souls that way, like I think Sean stopped by and he was like, "Oh, this is what you do to kill that boss or whatever."
Yeah.
It also varies. Some people
helpful for me.
Some people don't like backseat gaming. They don't like people telling them what to do.
I think for a game like that, Earl, like where I'm not comfortable playing it, like yes, please tell me what I'm doing wrong.
Yeah,
if I was playing Mario, maybe don't.
Yeah, streaming was very funny. Again, I was for the peak of it for me was on the pandemic. I mean, I've never really streamed, but I'd watch people stream, and it's always like fascinating to see like people because there are people who they get more frustrated if you're telling them like, oh no, you need to do this. No, you have to. I get it, especially with that weird delay sometimes between like when a message is actually sent and when somebody gets it. There's like sometimes up to like a minute delay. I find
it can be, yeah. I don't know why that is. Like, I think it's just the way some of Twitch shuts it up that it's like you're getting the delay of the gameplay.
This is a long way around for me of saying that like you should really go back to Baldur's Gate, man. Like the game is something special. You should go back to Elden Ring too. I'll help you out there, but I think like you know you're into like what Baldur's Gate like that type
more
of game
so than Dragon's Dogma for sure. Yes.
Yeah, so I'm saying like, yeah, you're leaving something. It's fine, you know. Yeah, I
it's still installed on my machine. Like I did not uninstall it. Like it is a game. Like
will like if you dig that genre, like some of the battles in that are just so fucking awesome, dude. Like, and like another thing that like. Because again, like Dragon's Dogma to me, I most closely relate it to that just because you have the whole party in it, like, and it's kind of the same kind of typical fantasy setting, like, you know, not just the battles in Baldur's Gate, but again, like, this is rare for me to say, but like the story stuff is fucking awesome, and how much you like have control over shaping it is awesome, and like the fact that anything can happen and it's still interesting.
So what do you guys think of the story in Dragon's Dogma or Tony?
I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck about it, Tony.
I mean, I do like a good story, but I don't need it.
So this is more.
Do you like the story in it?
In Dragon's Dogma, it's there.
It's more about just going out and adventuring and
it's kind of like the thing I like about strategy games, like that emergent like storytelling based on what you're doing, as opposed to
I mean, I'm glad both of you are liking it. It seems like it's going to take both of you some time to play through it.
It's so weird.
It feels long.
I looked up on how long to beat, and it said 22 hours, and I'm like, what? I'm in the second town. Like I'm nowhere. Like I looked up a guide, and I'm like, on step 4 or 5 of the guide out of like fucking 20 steps. Like you know what I mean? Like 20 chapters. I'm like, there's no way this is a 20-hour game. Like what?
The thing about it is though, like none of the story missions have been difficult in any way, shape, or form. Like everything related to the main quest has been simplicity. It's like all like the other stuff that I've been doing that's hard, like the random ogres I run into. Yeah,
exactly.
Well, so there's multiple videos of these out there from different people, but I watched one of like, 10 things you're doing wrong in Dragon's Dogma or something, or these are 10 ways for you to play it better. And like one of the ones is like, if you mainline it, like it can be done in like 30 hours. It's just like you're not experiencing what that game has to offer because like you're not going into that cave where you got lost, Jeff, or
that's a main quest that I was doing, and it's for sure main quest.
Okay, so you just got lost on a main quest.
Yeah, I did what I had to do in the cave, and they're like, "All right, now go to this. Like now you gotta follow up on that and go somewhere else." And my pawn does not know the way, and I don't know the way. And it didn't feel like a very big cave. I just feel like I'm going in a giant circle, like inside of it, and I'm just missing the exit. Like I'm sure I'll get there.
So maybe you're in like a different use case.
Yeah,
I guess some people, but like Tony's just like taking his party out and they're fighting griffins out in the field or whatever. Like,
well, it's like kind of an older RPG where like anytime you're out in open world, you're going to be running into this shit constantly, and you could probably kind of like grind away at it, but it doesn't even matter because anytime you're going anywhere, you're grinding away. Like you're always running into this shit.
There's always combat to do, and
it's not just like random enemies either. There's like, oh look, it's a giant minotaur or a cyclops or one of those stone, like big shit.
Those stone giants are all over that desert town, like outside of it, and like I had to run away because I'm like, it's too many things going on, and then the fucking wolves come in, they're surrounding you, and you're like, fuck.
Well, sometimes too, you'll get like two boss enemies that are right next to each other.
Yes, there are two right outside the desert town. There's two stone giants, and you're like, these are not easy enemies to take down. Like
no, you have to hit them in specific spots. It's like
yes. And my magic's not that like good on them yet. Like I'm mostly relying on my like fucking melee guys to take them down in a way.
I'm just gonna rely on your guys' pawns to do everything for me. So
you know what I found has helped me with the stone guys, Tony, is the ice spell.
Yeah, the ice spell's pretty good on those guys.
Pretty good on them. Yeah.
I hope you guys don't get the whatever the video game plague is.
Right, oh my God. I've heard about that.
Fuck up my game.
I've heard about it on Twitter. I've seen like someone did mention it in the game. They're like, there's a plague going around.
My pawns talk about it all the time.
Yeah, but like, please God, don't let that happen because like, I think it basically fucks your game in a lot of ways. Like,
evidently the towns will repopulate over time, but it just takes a really long time.
That's a little annoying. It's I think a step too far, but whatever. I'm enjoying the game. Like again, to me, it's just like I'm not like this is not like the next big thing. It's a decent RPG. It has some like interesting quirks, like things that are like different about it than others.
I do like the pawn system.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Like being as it's not a co-op game, but I can bring you guys into my game. I do wish it had like a cross-play pawn functionality, so like I could bring in Walt's pawn or I have friends playing on PlayStation, like, but I'm stuck with you guys, but like
my only like big complaint with that is like I wish you could bring in my main dude, like me, like because that's the character I spent on. Like I invested everything into that character, like my main, like me. And then when it came time to make my pawn, I was just like, all right, I wanted to get to playing the game, and I just like, all right, I'm gonna make him like a fighter class, and then I didn't like adjust him at all. Like,
you can still adjust him. You can make changes if you want.
I guess, but like, I just don't care about it enough.
I could tell name? Jeff. That's why the first time that I got your pawn, you know how you can send them back with the gift.
You gave me the rod.
With a rod now.
You gave me that, right? Yeah, I knew it. Like,
that's funny.
I usually give nothing. I just a little.
I always give like something small, but it's not.
I never have.
Somebody sent me a golden beetle. I was like, oh, thanks.
Really? Someone sent you a golden beetle?
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. For those of us who are not in the know, what is the golden beetle?
I have no idea.
So one of the more challenging aspects of the game is managing like your inventory because you can only carry so much.
Your weight.
As you level up, you can carry more, but you can also find these golden beetles that, if you use them, permanently raise your carrying capacity by a small amount.
Huge deal.
That's kind of important.
Yeah, so you can go out and find them in like the forest and like search them out. They're easy to see at night because they shine out really brightly. But yeah, somebody sent me one.
I honestly think that's like another cool idea I like is those beetles because like some RPGs, and this is definitely one of them, like the carry weight is like a huge factor, and it's easy here to go like above average on your weight, and yeah, so those beetles give you like what, like a pound and a half of max encumbrance, but like that's huge, man. Like
when you have to
and your
carry,
pawn,
like
it raises
camping
both of you
equipment,
at the same
right?
time.
Like
yeah,
you have to carry equipment that you use out in the field, not just your like extra weapons.
and everything you carry on you counts. Unlike from software games, like only the stuff you equip counts as your weight. Everything you're carrying here counts. So like if you're picking up, like if you go into a cave and you find some like ore, that is very heavy and it like counts toward your weight. It sucks, dude. You're just like, fuck, man. Like I always like max out my weight, like, or not max out, but like get to the heavy zone, which you don't want to be too easily.
Yeah, it's hard to avoid.
Make you slow.
Yeah, it makes you slow. It makes your stamina go down quickly.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm sure we'll be talking more Dragon's Dogma 2 over the next few weeks.
It's all I got till Elden Ring DLC, as far as I can tell. I don't see shit else coming out.
Earl, did you play anything this week?
Nothing new. No.
So real quick, I forgot to mention this last week, but while I was away in Chicago, to extend my my achievement streak, I picked like a game that I knew had like a lot of achievements and was easy to play. So I played some Brotato, which is it's like Vampire Survivors.
Cool.
The difference here is that there's difficulty levels. So like you start out on difficulty 0, and it took me like probably like 10-15 runs to figure it out, and you have to get through 20 waves, and after each wave, all your materials that you've collected, you then go to a shop, and you can, if you've leveled up, you then upgrade your stats random wise. So like you'll get a card, 4 different cards, and you can pick from one of them, or you can re-roll for some of your coins that you picked up. And then there's a shop. So unlike in Vampire Survivors, where like weapons would drop on the field, you would pick them up, or as you level up, like you're hey, here's 3 things, which one would you want? This is like after the wave is over, you then get to select, do you want like a new weapon? Do you want this item that does this thing for you? And that all costs gold that you're picking up as you're playing. And after every level that happens, so 20 times. And then you want to get through wave 20, which is like a boss wave. And if you can survive that, then you've beaten difficulty level 0, and it unlocks difficulty level 1, which makes it a little bit harder. Same thing though, like same thing as Vampire Survivors, just a auto shooter. You're kind of just trying to survive out there. One different, I mean, not really different, because Vampire Survivors has different characters that you can play as. They have buffs and weaknesses, depending on the character you pick. And same with this. There's different potatoes that, like, it's absurd. It doesn't look as good as Vampire Survivors, I don't think. I think the enemy variety is weaker. Like, I don't think it has, like, that same quality. But if you want a game like that, it's free on Game Pass, and there's plenty of content there. So it's also, I think, a $5 game total wise. Another game I played, which Jeff says is not a game. I played Princess Peach Showtime.
Oh, yes.
And I really liked that quite a bit. So if you played the demo, Peach ends up in this playhouse, and each of the different theaters is a different play that is happening, and Peach takes on a role in that play to defeat the evil grape person. So like in the demo, I think it was the sword fighter and the patisserie. So she made like
Yes.
pastries.
Yes.
But in the actual game, like there's Cowgirl Peach and there's Detective Peach and Ninja Peach and Ice Skater Peach and Superhero Peach, and like so each of the levels is kind of themed around that, and the gameplay is kind of set in that way. So Cowgirl Peach, like she has a lasso, she can lasso enemies. It's all fairly basic, except I've only gotten through one of the levels where I've gotten all the stars. So you don't need a lot of the stars to advance, but like it's not like, oh, you're gonna play this and just blow through it. Like you're gonna miss some things, as you're playing through. I think it's like ultimately probably the same level of difficulty as Kirby.
So it's easy.
Yeah.
It's easy. Yeah, it's an easy game. It's very low impact, I would say, but I think it's fun. All the levels have like a nice look to them. The detective one is neat because like you're kind of going around, they're giving you clues and you're trying to find like where are the criminals, like where are the items where's the thing, where'd they hide at, so that you can then go through the vent. And if you like deduce wrong, so like you can go someplace, hold down B, and it's just like you want to use your intuition here, and if you do the wrong thing, like you go, yeah, this is what it is, like she'll lose a heart there. So there's like a risk reward, and it's not just like, oh, you pass through. You can die. I think I died once on one of the boss fights. That was mostly my fault because I'm trying to attack, so it was a sword fighter, and it's like I'm not understanding what it wanted you to do was dodge, and if you dodge, you kind of like auto jump onto their head, and then you can
it's
attack
a bomb
them.
thing. I guess
It wasn't the first boss like
But
that's
it's
in the
in the demo, but that sounded familiar. Where it's like, yeah, because the dodging is also very. I mean, I've already played the demo. The dodge and timing was very, 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 very generous.
Yes, it's super generous, but I was not dodging. I was trying to attack, so I was kind of like, and it was like, why am I taking damage? Because, and it was really what it wanted you to do was dodge, and then you would jump on this boss's head. So after, that's kind of the thing here. So you did that first one with Sword Fighter Peach. There's a second level where you play as the Sword Fighter again, and then that unlocks a third level that's in the basement, and that's where you rescue the actual sword fighter, the actual starry or whatever you're rescuing here. You fight the boss in that one, and then once you beat the boss there, then like that person's unlocked. And so there's a boss level for each of the different characters, different roles that Peach is playing. And I don't think I've hit on all of them yet. I think I still have maybe like one or two left. It's neat. It's super low impact. Like I play it for like a half hour. I'm like, yeah, it was fun, and move on with my day.
Yeah, I still want to pick it up, but I need to figure out my voucher situation because I don't want to pay full price for it.
Yeah,
Sure.
Neither would I.
So like I got that along with Dragon's Dogma 2, and that's because I had like a bunch of credit at a game store that's closing. I was just like,
gotta do something.
Yeah, I was like, what do I get here? And they had both of those, and I was like, they're brand new. Sure. I mean, I generally don't buy Xbox games physically, but got to use this credit if they're leaving. So, but I'm not upset that I am playing it. Like it's fun. I think once I'm finished, my youngest daughter, she'll probably play it on her Switch, and I think she'll have a good time with it too. And then finally, I got into Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. That game is fantastic. I am loving it. It's remake was very linear. Like the areas that are open are not very big. This after you get through the intro area, it just dumps you out in the world. You go get a chocobo. You're riding your giant chicken around everywhere. it is they've made an Ubisoft open world game, so there's like all these marks all over the board, but like the activities you're doing are so ridiculous and filled with character that it's like fun to kind of do one of those again. And it looks beautiful. So I'll be playing that game for quite some time.
Is it worth it to? Do you think it would be worth it to skip remake and just go straight to Rebirth? I kind of feel like if I make myself play
like skipping the prologue of the game, you know what I mean? Like
but I can like find something that'll catch me up on what happened.
So
not story wise. It's just like getting the feel, and then like the like what Chris is describing, like the jump from one to the other, where like all of a sudden it opens up. You're not gonna feel that, like.
Yeah, but the problem is like spending the 30 hours it's going to take me to get to that game is probably not going to happen.
I would watch it on YouTube.
Well, here's my thing: is I've been burned by Final Fantasy before by you guys telling me it's good and not going to be cool again.
I would not recommend it for you, Jeff. Like, I think for me, as somebody who is a Final Fantasy fan and specifically like a fan of 7, and I liked Remake, like this game is exactly what I wanted. It's also way more goofy than Remake, which is kind of dour in a lot of ways. Like it's like you are a eco-terrorist in that one. You're blowing up stuff. The evil corporation is like doing terrorism back at the people to combat it. It's not a fun game, like story-wise. This is just like you're on the run from the beginning, and then like you're out in the open world. Like you have to escape this like beautiful little town called Calm, and then you're out in the open world, and it's like, okay, and it's just this beautiful thing. And you get to the Chocobo Ranch, and now I have a fucking giant chicken I can call at all times. It's stupid. The game is dumb, but I'm like enjoying it. And it's the right way to approach this, right? So like Midgar in Final Fantasy VII is kind of like the serious portion. And then when that game opens up, which is exactly what Rebirth is that piece right after that, that game is stupid. Like the game is really goofy. You're this oversized person in the original one, you're this oversized sprite in the overworld, and you might have your little Chocobo 2 to drag you around. But this just has like a bunch of like stuff to do out in the open world. I don't know if you know what Moogles are. They're like these little like floating fairy bears in the world of Final Fantasy. So like I ended up going to, there's this place on the map, and I ended up going there. And you go into the hut, and it reverses. So now you think you went into a hut, but now you're outside in some other dimension. And these evil Moogles are like, you have to round them up. So like you're trying to like get them all into this little gate area. It seemed like I'm explaining it. You're like, that sounds really stupid, and it is, but it's fun. Like it's like it was super fun. It's super cute looking. You have a talking rat dog partner that is on your team. You can flip any of the party members in and out if they're with you at the time. So you want to play with Barrett and Tifa, or you want to play as Red 13, who's the rat dog guy. You can have them in there. It's real easy to flip between the different characters as you play. So I think it's really well done, and it's a much happier and lighter toned game than the first one was. To answer your question, Tony, if you enjoyed like what you played of Remake, like if you're like, yeah, this gameplay is fine enough, like it's that type of combat. Like that combat hasn't really changed. They've made some adjustments to like how there's like synergies and stuff, so you can build up with your other teammates. Like you can build up synergies and do like combo attacks now that are different from the first game. I think they've redone like the whole skill tree and everything, which was very simplistic in Remake. But if you like that gameplay, that's here, and you could probably, as Earl said, just like watch like a watch like an explainer video on Remake, probably take you like 40 minutes instead of 30 hours. And there's also the like what happened previously. Like there's like a when you boot up Rebirth, there's like a what happened in a Remake video that's like 6 minutes long or something that'll kind of touch on a lot of that stuff too. So if you think you like enjoyed what you played of it and you think you'd enjoy like an open world goofy approach to that, I would maybe skip Remake. I think Remake is a good game, but like if you're like, I'm not going to get through it, and you would rather see this one, which is more cheery, then maybe go for it that way. Maybe wait since you're playing Dragon's Dogma right now. Maybe
right, exactly. I don't think I need another game because I don't need another huge RPG at the moment.
No, and this like, I mean, even if you mainline it, it's probably like a 40-hour game. And for everybody that I know that's been playing it, is just like they're enjoying doing all the side stuff. Like it seems like it's all very well written. It's all fun to do. So like they're ending up like just clearing out the entire map. And that is pushing it from a 70, maybe a 40 to 70 hour game to like 70 to 100 hours. You're already playing one of those, so maybe wait a little bit on it. Good stuff though. I played Stellar Blade. I played the demo of that.
Badass.
I mean, she has an ass. That's for sure.
I was gonna say, I hope because I heard the stuff that came out about that this week. So.
Oh, what did you hear on that, Earl?
About just the way people, what is it? They fired some women on their staff, and
I did not hear that.
Yeah, and people were claiming it as like a. I don't know I don't know what the term is, but essentially kind of like not like pro Gamergate in the sense that like this is the real women we want in games and stuff like that.
You remember Chris? I was telling you about how the right claimed Sydney Sweeney's tits as
yes
anti-woke.
Is that what they're doing with this?
I think it's the same. I think it's the same thing here.
The right is claiming Stellar Blade as the anti-woke video game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they already turned on Sweeney because her new movie's not anti-religious, but it's immaculate,
satanic. It's
yeah.
It's yeah. We were talking about this last night on the movie show because I had seen that.
I don't know how anybody like goes into a movie that is a religious horror and is like, yeah, this is not going to be blasphemous. Like,
by the way,
it wasn't even that it came. It was just they started seeing the advertisements, and of course people were like, oh, they saw like we were camming her, so they put out this movie. I'm like, people do know movies aren't made in like 2 weeks. I mean, there's probably some crappy movies that happen.
Oh my god, they're so dumb.
The tweet that like everyone caught on to, including Neon Studios, was like this guy being like, they saw that she was a new hero of the right, and then they shoved her in this like anti-Christian, anti-Jesus, anti-Mary fucking debacle, and it was like, dude, this movie was like made at least fucking done like a year ago, at least. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck are you talking about, bro?
Also, didn't she produce it?
She was, yes. She was the reason the movie exists. Like, she had been trying to get it made for 10 years. She loved it, like loved the concept and the script, and then she actually approached the director because she had worked with him before. And she's like, I want you to direct this. Like, she was kind of like guiding the whole fucking thing. And they're like, they shoved her in this anti-Christian propaganda.
Yes, because they knew that you were claiming her as right wing. Yes, that's exactly why.
And as a very quick aside,
yeah.
I cannot believe that the first Omen movie is getting like very positive reaction. I thought for sure Immaculate would be the better of the two, but so far it seems like people really like that first Omen movie as well.
Oh no, man! Not that I'm not saying it's bad, but like I've seen the Omen movies. They're not great. Like I don't know if I could do this one.
I always loved part one. When I was a little kid, it scared the shit out of me, and I thought it was good. I have not. Maybe I've seen it somewhat recently. Still thought it was all right. The other ones I've seen, but I don't remember.
Okay.
Back to Stellar Blade though, real briefly. I don't want to spend too much time on
video
it.
games.
I don't know, I guess people are saying it's kind of like a Souls-like. I guess like you're not picking up souls. I don't think you lose them if you die. Like you're picking up like chips or something, but I don't think that like when you die you have to go recover them. There are like campfires, I guess. And when you like rest at one, like the enemies respawn. That just seems to be like a standard mechanic that people have taken from the Souls games. It doesn't necessarily seem like it's boss based. Like there's bosses, but it's more like, oh, you're gonna play through this level and then fight a boss. As opposed to kind of like, in Dark Souls or something like that, where it's just a continuous open world and you're going to move through it like that. I don't think that's what's happening here. I think these are levels. You're going to play to the end. You're going to fight a boss, and then there'll be a cutscene. You go to the next thing. It also has difficulty. It has a difficulty level, so there's like you can play. It's I guess like normal. There's like a hard mode, and it's like a story mode you can play as well. Plays more like, I don't want to say Devil May Cry, but I guess it's more like that than anything like a Souls-like game.
Bayonetta?
Maybe, but I think it, like Bayonetta and Devil May Cry, you guys played them, you would say they're responsive, right? Like when you play, like they're fast, like you press the button, shit happens slick. Immediately on screen.
Yes, I mean that's what they need. Like they need that precision.
This doesn't feel like, it doesn't feel as precise, doesn't feel as responsive as that. There seems like there might be a little bit of a delay in kind of like how she was, and it's very animation focused. So like she moves into an animation, like you need to complete that animation before you can start a new one.
That makes it sound like deliberate, like Souls.
A little bit, but it's.
I hear it's more akin, I think you said Monster Hunter, where it's more kind of a combination of base where you're not necessarily doing the timing. It's more like your attacks, your attacks have an animation. Yeah. Where like Bayonetta and Devil May Cry, it's like you can attack, but like part of it is like we need an attack, and like, maybe you need to roll or parry in between this so you can stop this and figure it out. Where like Monster Hunter or Dauntless are very much like, oh, you're committed to this, so you better make sure when you start your attack that you know you're aiming for.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, man, you're probably right, Jeff. Like that makes it a little more Souls-like, but I think it's trying to play more like Devil May Cry or Bayonetta, and it just doesn't.
It's like a hybrid of it.
Yeah, I don't love it. I don't think I'll be getting it at launch. Like maybe in a few months when it's half price, maybe I'll try it then. But also the costumes are fucking stupid. Like her base level costume is just dumb.
Part of me is interested in this just out of the pure I need PlayStation 5 games.
Fair.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. I'm pretty much sticking with Dragon's Dogma for probably at least another couple of weeks. So.
Yeah, and then you're pulling right up to Elden Ring. So.
Yeah.
It's not that far off. I don't know. We'll see. I am interested to see how Stellar Blade does. Like.
I would see the reviews and stuff.
So weird that they're like, yeah, this is the game. Like it's the anti-woke game. Like why? Because there's
titties,
boobs.
I don't know why I don't know why they think titties are on their side.
Right?
We are the
Titties
fucking
belong to
promoters.
people you hate.
We are the
Think about
promoter. Exactly. You hate women. We are on the side of titties. We own titties. Fuck you, motherfuckers.
And these aren't like drawn titties. Like these titties came from like an actual woman that they scanned. Like a woman. You know? A woman.
You know, women don't have autonomy in their world.
It is very funny to me how the right like seems to think like they have some sort of like,
is theirs.
Yeah, like they have some sort of like hold on sexual content when like the right like throughout time has been against that. That's kind of the thing that they're against is like freedom.
They're the Puritans.
Yeah.
Because like in their heads, it's more like like I think it's because like normal people, not right or just normal people in general, there's a whole swath of women and body types that people find attractive, and for so long, like it was very much like one type, and like especially with gaming. I mean, I think like Lara Croft is a big example. Booty shorts, big boobs, really, but really well defined character. And then like the remake gave her pants and stuff like that, and people were like, "Oh, they're taking her away." It's the same thing where people came up with like Rogue and like her not having an ass in the new X-Men '97. I'm just like,
oh my god, I saw that, Earl. I saw what you're talking about. That is the most ridiculous. Like taking one frame out of a series from the '90s. It's so ridiculous, dude.
Like, how much are you staring at these cartoons to realize, like, yeah? And people pointed out, like, it's not like it, but it was like, yes, it's like one frame that they all use to show like she does and doesn't have one, and it's just like, oh, so this is what they want. This is feminism, and it's like, no, it's like, what? Because to your point, because the other thing they complain about is like a woman has to be sexy like this, but it can't be the woman's choice because these are the same people. Like there was a guy, one of the insane people on Twitter, who created like that AI that would dress up women in clothes that they posted on, like if they posted in like social media in like a bra and panties or something like that. It's like, oh, this is what a respectable woman would wear. So it would, like put on like a skirt or something. So like this weird thing with sex in them. But it also goes to the fact that they don't really know what they're talking about. They're insane people.
No, like that, I was gonna say, like I think the main thing with a lot of like the people on the right who do culture war shit is like they don't actually consume the stuff that they're criticizing. They just like find whatever bullshit thing that someone said about something that day, and they're like, "This is bullshit. How did they ruin Ghostbusters for me?" Or whatever the fuck. You know what I mean? Like it's just like, dude, you ain't watching this shit in the first place to begin with. Go fuck yourself.
Because there's money in it. There's always money and outrage in people. But yes, it's like again, some of it I paid attention to. I just saw this in passing because I think it blew up like Monday or Tuesday, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on. Because last I heard is like people were just excited to check out the game.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the demo's fine. It does show how stupid those costumes look. I've never seen any sort of material act like that on boobs, unless it's body paint. So it's a weird thing. But also there are different costumes. Like they show a sizzle reel at the end of the demo that like, you can dress her up any way you want, like including if you want to put her in sweatpants and a sweatshirt. She can wear a hoodie for you. She can wear a construction outfit. Like if that's your thing, you can dress her up however you want. There's also like probably a more nude version of the suit. I don't know. Whatever. It's so fucking weird.
All right, pre-ordering.
Did you guys see the little thing I took a couple snippets of an article that was on, I believe, on Kotaku, and a chart here that showed up at GDC basically says like, here in 2023, here are the most played games of the year on different platforms, and what their average age is, how long they've been out on the market. And Switch came in with the youngest of games at 3.9 years, but everything else was 7 years or older for the top 10.
So okay, I saw this in passing because the way somebody phrased it, I was like, this can't be right, because it's something like 60% of the games played last year were 6 years or older.
Mm-hmm.
And the way they phrased it, it made it sound like the gamers 6 years and older had played 60% of the games. Where I'm like, oh, does that mean 40% of games are played by 6-year-olds and under? Like, what 3-year-old is playing that many video games? But
No, the game age themselves,
yes.
how long they've been out is 6 years or older.
Yes, and it is kind of a good and bad thing, I guess. I mean, the forever games, I imagine some of them like Call of Duty. I assume Fortnite and Minecraft, the big ones.
Fortnite is the number one game on every platform.
Yes. Uh, but like, yeah, I think it just kind of goes to show, one, where a lot of people you want to be gas, because if you're gas, you can be a forever game. Destiny's more than 6 years old. Destiny 2, I should say. But the problem with newer games trying that is like everybody has their games now. Like, why are we going to switch from those forever games for your new game of the week?
Yeah,
I think this goes to like the fact that like because gaming has gone mainstream
Ish.
The mainstream, like, they are buying it as a toy that plays this game. Like, yeah, you could watch Netflix on it, you could do this or that, but like, okay,
you can do that on anything though, right? Like,
yeah. No, no one's buying it for Netflix except me.
Right. It's their Fortnite machine. It's their Call of Duty machine. Their Grand Theft Auto 5 machine. Unless you're a Nintendo.
Well,
I think most people are not like, they get it. It's like a toy to them. Like the system is the toy. Like the game is the toy, and that's it. It's not about like, oh, what's the new game coming? Am I gonna play Stellar Blade? No, they're not thinking about that at all.
They don't know what Stellar Blade is.
Like, they don't care. It's not on the radar. There's no. To me, it's like a fundamental like. I'm kind of the same way with movies. People like have a fundamental lack of curiosity. Like they're just like,
I don't think
whatever.
I don't think it's a fundamental lack of curiosity. I do think, it's partially that, but I also do think that the industry has, in many ways, kind of consolidated around certain types of games and genres.
It pushes people towards playing the one game forever too. You're right. Like,
because it's not like an actual curiosity, I guess, would be like, what would you say is like the last major, like, oh, this is very different type of game that we've had that has had any type of main, like, in general, what was the last major, like, oh, this is so unique and weird?
Oh God, I don't even know.
Not unique and weird. I don't think that, like, I don't know. Most of these games are that unique and weird.
Well, they're
good and they're accessible.
But you say people aren't doing their curiosity, but part of it is like the industry hasn't really fed that curiosity. I would say the last major time we had that, like, was Wii Sports. That was one where like there was a natural curiosity. I'm not saying that it hasn't been new games and genres since then, but I feel like a lot of those have catered more towards like gamers who are already into games versus something like a Mario 64, which is like, oh, this is brand new. I've never seen anything like this. Wii Sports was a new way to interact with the medium. A lot of stuff we've seen in the past 10, 15 years has been, this is a great format. We want to build on this in some fashion. Even stuff like Fortnite built on PUBG with the battle royale, like that, I would say would probably be a curiosity.
Let bolster like Earl's argument here and say maybe it's rare that like we get shit that's fucking good.
I don't know if it's I don't know if it's rare that we get shit that's good. I think
that's that mass appeal. That's something that's surprising and new and captures the public's imagination. Even like Baldur's Gate 3, sure. I think is an amazing game, but that's not like. Actually, that did draw in people that did not know the genre. Me being one of them.
Yes, but it's
not something that's going to grab my sister who plays, Mario Kart with her kids. You know what I mean?
I will say, and not curiosity, but there's a combination of pandemic and stuff. Like 2020, between like Animal Crossing, Among Us, and Fall Guys, those I thought were really. Animal Crossing was the right game at the right time, but I think Fall Guys and Among Us were ones where it's like those are games anybody can play. I think Fall Guys more than anything didn't know how to prolong that tail because it became more of a game over time. And I think once you started adding in elements of skill, like how many people still play Fall Guys?
I just think that's a game that you play for like a couple days and you're like, all right, I've seen it, that's fun.
And then you fall off.
Yeah, literally.
I do think I think it was a game.
Once you win, like I won a round, I have not touched that game since.
Yes, as I say, I think it's like you try to, but I think because it's one of the things I always say. It's like what I say about Mario Kart and Mario Party. It's like there's an element of skill, but the games are always kind of balanced in a way that anybody thinks they have a chance of winning. Like I think if you're good enough at Mario Kart, especially people who play the tracks enough to know like shortcuts and stuff, you will win 90% of the time. But the game always gives you that illusion that you have a chance of winning. I think Fall Guys was really good at that at first, and then Fall Guys started to be like, we are going to make this more like the stages aren't just simple like obstacle courses. Like now there's elements of platforming and knowing how to like, actually even hold on to these things that or like timing. And that I think that's the type of stuff where it's like, oh, now you turn off one person, you turn off two people, and over time you turn off more and more people, where you end up with this dwindling fan base. Where I mean, to be fair, it's number 10 on the list of PlayStation and number 7 on the Switch, so there's still an active audience, I guess. I just don't hear about it in the same way.
Right.
I think that like most of the things that like this article or whatever hits on have always been true in a way against different entertainment genres or mediums. But to me, what's surprising is the number is that like only 8% of video game playtime was spent on new non-annual titles. So like, yeah, again, none of it surprises me, but 8%, that's kind of surprising me.
That seems low, doesn't it? Almost impossible.
Well, and it's weird, right? Because like we talk about games every week. We talked about like 6 different games tonight.
Right.
And
none of the 4 of us could play games like that. It's impossible. We could not do it.
But I do wonder, and I talked about this a little bit with Jeff last night. I'm interested to see your perspective, Tony, from your kids' side, because I watch how my kids play, and like my son, he's not home anymore, but like when he was home, he was playing like he would play Fortnite, he'd play Overwatch, he'd play Rocket League. Like he wasn't generally playing like what we consider as like the big games, like the single player stuff. He was just playing stuff with his friends that like he could have where he's talking with them all the time. My youngest daughter, she plays Minecraft and Roblox. That's it. Like she'll play Mario Kart with us like when we play, but like she's not seeking that out.
Yeah.
How do your kids approach games? Like I know like your kids are like into Monster Hunter and stuff, but do
Right.
they like stick into one game or are they bouncing around?
Do they
they're-
look forward to like?
so
the
they
next
look
few-
forward to these new games. They'll get really
Okay.
excited. They'll play them for a few hours, but like if I were to tell you, like my son, I got him Princess Peach, I got him Mario versus Donkey Kong. Like he wanted those games. He's super excited. But his most played game of 2024 is Castle Crashers.
Yeah,
So a game that's like 15 years old.
Like
that is very funny.
I think if I were to add my two kids together, I bet the most played game for so far this year is Minecraft. Like they get all these games, they have access to them, they can play them whenever they want, and of course, part of that is their father providing that because he also wants to play these games. But they're reaching back to these games they've played so much of, and they're trying to master. Like one of the things about Monster Hunter, like that game's old now. Like what has it been like 6 years, 7 years for
Which
Monster
one?
Hunter World?
Oh.
Yeah,
And-
it's been a while. Yeah.
My kids have put tons, like hundreds of hours into that game.
That's
But
awesome.
That's not a
dude.
new game, right? That's like it's been around.
I think
I-
Tony's
I
just got
think
cool
so.
kids. They're just
I mean, I
playing
do.
the best
They're
games.
pretty cool, but like they are reach back to these games. They like invest in a game and try to master it, and that's just not something that I personally would do.
Yeah,
Right.
and I think it's. I mean, we are ancient now, but thinking back to like when we were kids, I think one of the big differences is when we discuss games on the playgrounds and stuff. It's like, oh man, that sounds really. You'd borrow that person's game or their game or whatever, or you learn out a game. It's like now it's like, oh, this game sounds really cool. Yeah, I mean, you can. Oh, let me show you how to play it because like I don't have kids, but my nephew got into Fortnite because like one of his friends in school plays. So they play, and it's so weird. Like they will literally call each other on the phone, not say anything, just play Fortnite together. I'm like, okay, sure, that works. I don't know you're on the phone. Roblox is another one. Still don't really entirely understand that, but
Yeah.
I've seen like one. I think Roblox, Fortnite, and Minecraft have that thing where just because you kind of have that continuity where like you can play them on your smartphone, that progress carries over to your PC version.
Yeah.
It carries over to your console version. So you have that like I can play on the go, or I can play like on the school bus, I can play on the road trip, whatever. But Roblox is just like an everything game because, as far as I can tell, it's just a hub for different types of games that people make.
Yes.
Yeah, I know kids who are very into that, and I think it's at Fortnite. I'm a big Fortnite. Fortnite is one of those things too, where like I play Fortnite, I play the actual battle royale thing, but like there are a lot of people who never touch that because there's so many modes and gameplays in there now that do different things. That's what they're into. They play Fortnite because everybody else is playing Fortnite, but they don't actually play the part where you're shooting each other. They play like the shoot, kill animals, or like there's ones where you there's ones where you just build up houses and workshops and stuff like that, and people play that. There's they have racing now, they have music, they have their version of Minecraft in there now, and that's people play that. So I think these games are just becoming HUDs, and it's like I'm gonna I come here constantly. I'm like, oh, I don't have any new games, and I'm like, I haven't known no games, but I spent like 10 hours on Fortnite this week. And it's like, yeah, it's a time sink. And it has, it has cracked my brain because I don't do as many single player games anymore because when I have time, I'm like, oh, I've played games already in a day and it's Fortnite or it's, Diablo or something like that. But yeah, the other thing I was fascinated by this is one, I was surprised that the Switch was the youngest, but then I realized it's probably because it doesn't have GTA and Call of Duty. I think that adds to the age in that.
It
criteria.
doesn't. It also has Pokemon, which is insanely popular. And their stuff sells well that year, right? Like, so,
Yeah.
Zelda was their number 2 game played last year. Mario Wonder number 3. What Pokemon Scarlet Violet is that's 2 years old now.
Year and a half?
So that stuff kind of like
Yeah.
drops the
brings it
overall
back.
age down.
Yeah, actually, what? Okay, so the newest game for Sony was EA Sports FC 24. Not even Madden?
Wild that Madden, I don't think it sells quite as well anymore.
And I guess not as well.
Good.
And
Yeah.
not as well, because I think FIFA has always done better globally because it's just bigger. And then the newest game for Xbox is Starfield.
Wild that Spider-Man not on that list.
I wonder if it's because I was gonna say it's a single player game, but then it Tears of the Kingdom, to your point, is the number 2 game on the Switch.
Yeah, yeah.
And Starfield is a single player game on the Xbox. Yeah, there are no single player games. That is very fascinating. Because like the old adage is like Sony is kind of like the big single player cinematic driven games, and like none of their games are on that list. Where Microsoft got one and Nintendo has Nintendo has a bunch of games, but
two very notable like single player type games though, up in their top
3. If you want to count Hogwarts.
Oh yeah, down on number 9. And I mean, I guess Pokemon is ultimately like, I mean, you can play against other people, but
oh wait, what were you counting?
But that's
then?
not how most people play that game.
I was doing Zelda and Mario, but
I thought you were doing Zelda and Pokemon.
Mario Wonder was at number 3. I know you can kind of.
That's why when you said that, I'm like, oh, so, but I was like, oh no, Pokemon I think of as a single player game, and that like yes, there's an aspect of social elements to it, but like the core game is single player. Or was that the one that added that weird co-op?
Yeah, I don't know. Tony, did your guys play Scarlet and Violet?
Oh, a ton of it. So much of it. I mean, I played it too.
What was there a weird co-op thing going on?
I don't remember there being a weird co-op thing though.
Oh, okay, maybe I could have sworn there was something. I mean, I know they introduced the raid battles in Sword and Shield or whatever.
I mean, there is this weird raid thing where you can go in and fight giant Pokemon with other people. I guess if that's weird co-op.
But I mean, that is weird co-op. But because that one again, I've always played Sword and Shield, and that was for like you had to go take these giant things, and then you had to summon random people when you were there, and like you'd win or lose together, and then you'd move on. It's not like you formed the party or anything. But yeah, it is. I mean, again, this will be refreshed when GTA 6 comes out, and I guess just GTA 6. I don't really know what else would change here for a lot of people.
Yeah, because Call of Duty is just kind of like a platform now. So, the Modern Warfare 3, right? That was last year, Jeff.
Yeah.
So I guess technically that's the latest game for both Xbox and PlayStation, but it's not a single player game. People, I mean, not that we don't play the campaigns in Call of Duty, but the majority of people buy this for the multiplayer.
Majority of people play Roblox.
Yes, lots of people play Roblox. Yeah, I just thought it was interesting that, like, we seemingly play games very differently than the majority of people.
And everyone.
I think some of the like part of this is kind of assumed. It's kind of where I was getting at, but like just the percentages, you're just like, geez, man. Like, gaming is mainstream, but it's mainstream in the fact that like the dorky people in your lives are playing games, and they're playing just that: Roblox, Fortnite, Minecraft, and that's it.
Well, I think that was always the case. In the sense that whenever people talk about gaming going mainstream, I think they've always stopped short of telling you what actually went mainstream. Because like when it started to go mainstream, it wasn't the games we would be playing. It was stuff like Cut the Rope, Fruit Ninja, Angry Birds. Like that's the games people were playing.
Casual games.
Sometimes those games that you would play as well but they
Right.
also have just a super mass appeal, and just
Yeah,
go all the way back to
again,
like NBA Jam, Mortal Kombat, like those are things that kind of caught people's attention, just regardless.
I mean, and to be fair, sports games will continue to do well.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
that's
There's people
I mean-
I've known my whole life that like they buy their system, they buy their Xbox to play Madden.
Yeah.
You know,
So
I have
and
a friend who
yay, hey, good for you. You know,
I had a friend who goes PlayStation over Xbox simply for the fact that they had the show. It was just like I used to again several of my best friends actually. I would always go to their houses when we were younger, and it would be like some friends. It would be like a Russian game, then whatever that NBA game was that back when NBA Live was out, and then NBA 2K, and like some friends now, I go to their house like Madden 16, Madden 17, Madden 18,
yeah,
Madden
and
19.
that's
That
just
is
it. Yeah,
and that is completely fine. That is completely fine. I just always find it funny, but that is totally fine. It happens. But like like some because again, stories. There's been several stories out this week about the industry where people are like it's not growing. We haven't really grown in like 3 generations. And this is across the board in the console space, I should say. But people were making money, so nobody cared about that. And now you're kind of getting to the point where like budgets are getting so high and the industry's not growing. You have to find some way to kind of squeeze blood out of a stone. And that's why we're seeing so many layoffs. But it's also one of those things where we've spent so much time as an industry, not us, focused on like bigger and better that like it's what you can sell to us, but it's like it's never been what you sell to the mass consumers. And now nobody really knows how to pivot and be like, we can make cheaper games that will sell to people to help us not have to fire 50% of our work staff every year.
be nice. All right. Well, yeah. That's I thought this was an interesting kind of look into how people are spending time playing games and how we are not the normal.
No.
I always thought we were so normal. I was convinced.
Well, if we're gonna talk about how we're not normal, though this case, I think it's the industry not being normal. But BAFTA, I always forget what that actually stands for. They had like a fan poll, I guess, to determine the most iconic video game characters of all time.
No.
And
What was on it, Earl?
well, number one was Lara Croft, which
Of all time,
yes, like I could see a case for Lara Croft being top 5. I'd probably put her somewhere in the top 10, but number one, it seems iffy.
in a world where Mario exists,
I mean,
and Laura Croft be number one.
Mario. Mario is Mario's up there, but even Mario exceeded Pac-Man. I would put up before her.
Yeah,
Sonic,
absolutely.
Pikachu.
I don't know about Sonic. Like maybe.
I think Sonic, just because Sonic has had the longevity, like I think Sonic is one of those because 2 hit movies,
Yeah.
a dozen animated series, long-running comic books franchise, crossovers in Smash Brothers. IHOP just has a menu with him now. Like I think like you can show somebody a picture of Sonic and I think they will recognize Sonic.
Yeah, sure.
Pac-Man. I don't know if as Sub-Zero and Sub-Zero and Scorpion. I would say Ryu and Ken. I think people would know who they are. I don't think people would be able to name them. Like, oh, they're from that game.
Yeah.
But
Where you
yeah,
punch things.
yes. But and then Master Chief.
Matt, yeah. Mm.
I would say Kratos can. I think Kratos and Lara Croft are probably around the same level.
I guess the one thing Laura Croft has going for her are the Tomb Raider movies.
Also, them titties. I'm sorry, I missed the beginning.
Yeah, I think I could show my wife a picture of the Angelina Jolie in those Tomb Raider movies. And she'd be like, "Yeah, that's that Lara Croft thing."
Yeah, and again, I'm not saying she's not iconic,
I
but is she the
don't
most
think she's
But more
Kratos.
iconic than Mario is.
Yes. Well, okay, so here's Warcraft number 1 was Mind Zone, but then Agent 47 from Hitman was number 3. And
Oh, okay. I saw this list. I'm sorry. I stepped away for a second.
yeah, and I was like,
No.
No, yeah.
I mean, he's awesome. Don't get me
Not
wrong.
even, but he's not a person. Like
he's
that's
not
kind
even.
of like his character is that he has no character. That's his
I
thing.
mean, he's a bald white dude. I would say Professor X before him if I randomly saw a picture. Like I could not bald white dude in a black suit. I think I don't know any. I mean, I guess he has a barcode on the back of his head.
He has those 2 movies too.
Yes,
Yeah, but
unrated.
those movies are terrible.
Hey, we watched one of them. It wasn't
I
good.
was gonna say, didn't you watch one?
Yeah.
One of them has Timothy Olyphant, and he's so weird looking bald.
Is that not the one that you guys watched?
I think it was.
There's 2 of them. I always forget which is which. I think he's in Hitman, Agent 47, and then there's just a movie called Hitman. Yeah, number 4 Sonic, and then number 5 I also had issues with was Sackboy. And
No.
Nobody
Yeah.
knows who the fuck Sackboy is.
no, I
No.
don't think so.
I
Again,
know who he is.
Who
You know
voted
who he
on
is.
this shit?
I don't.
Not the
Like-
people that are playing Fortnite.
But yeah, I'm never gonna make. Oh yes, I know Sackboy more than I know Pac-Man, or Link, or Kratos, or Lara Croft, or
Fucking
Pikachu.
Qbert is more iconic than Sackboy.
I would
Yeah.
say even would be somebody like Gex or Glover would be more iconic than Sackboy. Banjo
Jeez.
and Kazoo.
Wow, we're dragging Little Big Planet through the mud.
Ratchet and Clank.
Dax.
Yeah.
Donkey Kong.
Oh, yep.
Everyone,
Donkey
that's the
Kong
thing.
I think would be top 5.
Donkey Kong should, yeah, exactly. Donkey should be like right behind Mario, probably. Like,
He's not on this list.
That's
who's
insane.
number 1?
Lara Croft.
That's so weird. What the fuck?
Yes.
Maybe
So
we're
this is
really,
nuts.
really old and like.
No.
No.
Can't be right.
No, but like even if we're really old, like I mean, Donkey Kong was just in a fucking $1 billion movie.
Right.
Yeah.
Everyone knows who Donkey Kong is.
Mario had his title on that movie.
I cannot show my wife a picture of Agent 47 and her go, "Yeah, I know who that is." Like I could show her a
Exactly.
picture of fucking Donkey Kong.
Okay. So
Yes.
but
Argument settled right there.
the 2, yes, and that's the thing. Like you said, we may be old, Jeff, but that, if anything, that would prove the point. Like the purpose of being iconic is that even if you don't
I
know,
just always worry that like kid, like let's say like a 10-year-old kid today may have never heard of Donkey Kong or Mario, but that's probably wrong. They played Mario Kart probably, and
yeah, that's what I say. The thing is, like Donkey Kong is so intertwined with Mario. He's always
they've
in
never,
the
yeah.
park. He's in the movie. He's in Smash Brothers. So even if he Donkey Kong himself hasn't been in a new game in a decade.
And they've probably
Right.
never played Donkey Kong, but they know who he is, you know.
Right.
Yes. But again, yeah, Donkey Kong stage and Smash Brothers. But yes, they know who Donkey Kong is. Like, yes, I don't think he's as iconic as he would have been in like the 80s and 90s, but like he's still up there.
Top 5. Top
But
5.
the ones that bugged me more, and maybe it's like this might just be me being old and not knowing, is Shadowheart and Asteria from Baldur's Gate 3, which just for like recency bias.
Yes, I was gonna say, yeah.
Because like honestly, I've not played Baldur's Gate, so but like I've heard nothing about any of these characters. Like,
I mean, they're
anytime-
nice
John's
characters,
the thief
but they're
guy,
not.
right?
Yeah.
Like he's
Yeah,
the,
I mean, he was the most interesting character in the game to me personally, but like,
Shadowheart, baby.
and she was great too. But they're not like.
It's too new. It's like
Yeah.
you can't do
Like
that.
they will probably never be in a game again. Like they're
Right.
Yeah.
What numbers were they at, Earl?
Shadowheart was number 10, and Asteria was 17.
Huh. Yeah, that has to be recency bias. Like,
Yeah, it's just like, oh, this game is the best game ever made, and I get it because it's great. But 40 years from now, people are gonna know who Donkey Kong is. Will they know who Asteria is? Maybe, I don't know, but
again, it's like you folks will know who they are, or people who do not. Like again, the reason like Mario's like Mickey Mouse.
everyone,
Mickey Mouse hasn't
Exactly.
really done much in
Yeah.
our lifetime in terms of like being in movies or TV shows, but we all know who he is.
absolutely, yes.
Mario's is like, I mean, when you think Mario really hasn't been a thing until like the past few years with Nintendo like taking him, but like people knew who he was because he's in these big games. Pikachu's in the goddamn Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Everybody knows who that stupid mouse is. Agent 47. I don't know why you would know him.
No,
Anyways,
right. He was in two middling
wow. Oh,
not games. The games are popular, but they're popular amongst
I know,
people who play
I
those
agree.
games.
I agree with what you're saying. I was just like, man.
Iconic wise, like the movies are like they made like $60 million. Like nobody except people that played Hitman saw them.
And then they complained about it.
Yeah.
He's known to like the gaming community, but yeah, I got to go top 5 most iconic. Not even close to that.
Was Pac-Man on the list at all?
Yes, Pac-Man is 6, so he's after He's after Sackboy.
Come on now.
He even had a song. I mean, granted, it's a song from the 80s, but nobody's singing "I Have Agent 47 Fever."
I mean, Pac-Man was in an Adam Sandler movie. Like, it's not a good movie, but he was in it.
Do the top 10.
The top 10: Lara Croft, number 1; Mario, number 2; Agent 47, number 3; Sonic the Hedgehog, number 4; Sackboy, number 5; Pac-Man, number 6; Link, number 7; Master Chief, number 8; Kratos, number 9; Shadowheart, number 10.
Come on.
It's wild.
Shadowheart, number 10. Couldn't come up with that. I've played 5. Was this written by like a 15-year-old?
This is voted on by people.
Absolutely wild to me too that like I mean like Aerith was just part of a New York Times article, so like you would think somebody from Final Fantasy VII. Like I think most people know who like Cloud and Sephiroth are.
Cloud is number 16.
I've heard of those names.
Right, you've at least heard of them. Like
Yeah.
And even then, I would say I would put
they would be below like the
extremely
main,
higher, yes.
and this would be below that. Like the people on this list would be below that.
As much as Zelda, I think Link should be not Pikachu should be above Link. I think easily. I think Pikachu should be above Link. I think Donkey Kong should be up there.
Yep.
I think, and again, like I'm trying to think. Like I'm in my head now. I'm just trying to think of this Smash Brothers roster. I think that's the home of a ton of icon. I think Scorpion or Sub-Zero should be in the top 10.
Yeah.
I mean, very generic. I mean, Mortal Kombat has a ton of ninjas that I kick down, but like I think like 3 movies, a ton of animated movies, cultural catchphrases, songs. Mortal Kombat's up there. Like I said, I do think people know Street Fighter, but I think if I was to pick an iconic character from Street Fighter, it would oddly be Chun-Li.
Chun-Li, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, with her like buns, I think that
It's a unique look. It's a unique name. Yes, where Ken and Ryu are.
They're the karate guys.
Yes, they're known, but it's like, yeah, it's the game with Chong-Yi.
And I would bet that like 1 out of every 4 people you show Ken and Ryu to are like, they're the Double Dragon guys.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes.
I always say with the green guy,
That
the
Baraka.
monster. Baraka.
Wait, Baraka?
It's a Baraka?
The green guy with the orange hair.
Bianca?
Blanca, that's it.
We don't even know who they are.
Well, I know Bianca.
We're frauds, guys. Frauds.
I'll play Street Fighter, so.
When you say Baraka, I think of the guy from Mortal Kombat, the Jaws.
You're right. The guy with the
I thought Baraka was president of the United States. What are we talking about?
He'll fucking pull out the fucking sword arms
from Mortal Kombat.
Baraka's fucking the shit. I'm talking about Blanca.
Biden was VP. That guy. That guy.
That's what I think of for whatever reason. I'm not a Street Fighter player, so.
But you know the characters, which is.
I know, like, the 2 dudes, and I couldn't pick them out of the lineup which one was which.
But
Blanca and Chun-Li.
Daoism?
I was gonna say,
no. Maybe I guess from the name I probably figure it out.
Like the long arms.
You got flames. You got fire.
Don't remember.
Guile. I don't know if I'm saying.
Yes,
that right.
The guy with the flat top.
Yep.
Yes,
that was what Jean-Claude Van Damme, right, in the movie.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I've never seen the movie, but yeah. I think I thought he was supposed to be the main. What's that?
These are all more iconic than Agent 47 and Sack.
For sure.
Oh, that's a wild list, Earl. Thank you for bringing that up. I had not seen that. That's nuts.
It's an insane one. I was just like, and again, I don't want to say Lara Croft. I've never really played it too. I think I played the first of the reboot, the second reboot.
But that new trilogy is all great games. Those games are all fun.
Yeah. I know who Lara Croft is. Very, I know her look. Very distinct. Again, I would say I can see an argument for 5. I would say probably top 10. But like number 1,
absolutely not.
But again, even then, like my bigger qualms is like Agent 47 and Sackboy, even being on this list.
Yeah.
I don't think they would cross. If I would name 50 video game characters, I don't think they would come in my top 50.
We should do that. We should we should come up with a list in a couple weeks of our top 50 most iconic video game characters.
I will meet you halfway. If we get it down to like
25, we could do that. Yeah, we could do that. I think we could come up with that. All right, it's getting late. Tony has to leave for Seattle. Earl, when are you busing to Philly?
Yes, tomorrow.
Okay, so you'll be here in my hometown shortly. We'll be back next week, though. Jeff, say goodnight.
Good night.